these are the notes for section 4.1. You can find additional information in your textbook or on Hawks Learning. But we're going to start with a rate. A rate is a comparison of two things, usually using the word per. So some examples that occur in our everyday life are miles per hour. So maybe you're on a highway and the speed limit is 25 miles per hour. We call that mph. The next one would be revolutions per minute. This is also used with your car, dealing with your tires. In addition, with a record player, if you're going to play an album and it makes, let's say, 60 revolutions per minute, that also is listed as RPM. Now, another way to write this would be with a slash. So up here, you could put 25 miles. And instead of putting that P, you would put a slash. And then down here, you would put hours. Same thing here. This could be 60 revolutions. Forgive me, somebody just knocked at my door. Back to what I was talking about. You can do revolutions per minute, or right here, you can write it differently. You can put a slash, and then you could write minutes. That's another way to write a rate. Okay, price per pound. So maybe steak is on sale. It's going to be $6.99. So we would put $6.99 per pound. Now, one thing that's really important, it's going to come up in your labs this week, is that you label your rates. Notice for each of these, I've got miles per hour, revolution per minute, money or dollars, or cost. That might be a better way to say that. Cost per pound. A rate has to have words with it. Okay, that's very important. Let's look at example 2. A box of cereal is 13.5 ounces for $4.50. Determine the ounces, that comes first, that's important, per dollar. Now you need to follow the order of the words. So the first word I saw was ounce. Sorry. Ounce, that's supposed to say ounce. Okay. Per means to divide. And the second word I heard was dollar. So the dollar goes in the denominator. You do not want to reverse those. Your rate needs to be set up in the order that the words were given. So on top, I have 13.5. On the bottom, I have $4.50. Now, to convert that, you're going to divide. So let me get my calculator out. Let's see. So I'm going to divide 13.5 by $4.50. And I got 3, which is really, really unusual. That was nice of me to give you one that was so pretty. But this ends up being 3. And again, you have to follow the order that the words were given. 3 ounces, because that was the first word in our problem, per, put a slash, per dollar. So you would put dollars down here, and it's probably not a bad idea to put a $1. It's not necessary, but that would be your rate. 3 ounces per dollar is the rate of cereal. Next, you drove 178 miles on 7 gallons of gas. Determine the miles, that comes first, per gallon, okay? So I need to set up my rate. Miles is going to go on the top because it came first. Per means divide, and gallons will be on the bottom. Okay, then I just plug in. So I went 178 miles on 7 gallons. And again, I'm going to put that in my calculator. 178 divided by 7 is 25.42, blah, blah, blah. Now, for the most part in this class, we're going to round 2 decimal places unless it's specified otherwise. But I'm going to round this 2 decimal places. It would be 25.43. Now, look at your calculator with me. That 2 is followed by an 8. So the 2 bumps up and becomes 3. Rounding is very important. So this will be, don't forget to put your words. A rate has to be followed with words. Miles per gallon. All right, so that's rates. That's going to be very important in your grocery lab this week. Let's look at proportions. A proportion is when you set two rates equal to each other. So you're just doing what we did previously, but you've got an equal to in between two rates. The units on the top, okay, must match on both sides, and the units on the bottom must match on both sides. We'll talk about that more as we set up our problem. Example 14. A 13.5 ounce box of cereal costs $4.50. Okay, let's go ahead and set up our rate. Ounces came first, so I put that on the top. Dollars came second, so I put that on the bottom. This should sound familiar. We just did this. I'm going to do the same thing. A proportion means that I have two rates, ounces on the top, because that's the way it was over here, and dollars on the bottom. Again, notice I have it set up. The top and the top match. The bottom and the bottom match. That's very important. And now it's just a matter of plugging in. So over here, I've got a 13.5 ounce box of cereal for $4.50. And the question is, how much cereal can you buy for $10? Well, it's dollars, so it has to go down here. And I don't know how much cereal, so I put an X. This is a proportion. I just created my first proportion. I was going to try to change my pen color, but that's not going to work. So now to solve this proportion, you're going to cross multiply. I'll be honest, Hawks explains this a little bit differently, but I like to do this. I like to multiply across. So this gets multiplied by $10 and 4.50 gets multiplied by X. Okay, so 13.5 times 10 sorry, I lost my place. 13.5 times 10, that's going to actually move the decimal over one spot. So let me get back to where I was. That's going to be 135. Then I copy my equal to in the middle, and then I multiply the opposite direction. So 4.5 times x is 4.50x. This is a simple equation. I'm solving for x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 450, divide this side by 450, and then this is the left-hand side is what I put in my calculator to get my answer for x. So I put 135 divided by 4.50, and I got 30, no decimals at all. So the answer here is 30, and you have to put a word with the answer. 30 what? 30 boxes, 30 pounds, 30 yards, 30 grams. Nope. 30 ounces of cereal. And that would be your answer, 30 ounces of cereal for $10. Example 5, your car uses 7 gallons of gas to travel 178 miles. I'm going to go ahead and get it set up. Gallons will be first. Miles will be second. So therefore, I do the exact same thing on the other side, and I have a proportion. This is a proportion, a rate on the left equal to the same rate on the right. Now we just plug in. 7 gallons takes me 178 miles. How many miles can you travel on 15 gallons? Well, 15 has to go up here because it's the gallons. Again, Hawks explains this a little bit differently, but I'm going to cross multiply. I forgot to put my X in. What am I solving for? I'm solving for the miles. I don't know the answer there. So I multiply 7, go across times X. That'll be 7X. 178, go across and times that by 15. So 178 times 15, that's 2,670. This is a one-step equation. We're trying to solve for x. So x. So I divide both sides by 7. And now I'll put this in my calculator. 2,607 divided by 70, And I do get a decimal here. Again, for the most part in this class, we're going to round to 2 decimal places unless it's specified otherwise. So this will be 381.4 3. Now you need to look at your calculator yourself. Oops, I forgot to put my word. Let me leave myself some space. And make sure you are rounding correctly. Rounding here and rounding here. This is very, very important that you learn how to round correctly. So what word goes here? Is this miles or is this gallons? This is miles. So 381 miles, 381.43 miles. Moving on. A recipe calls for 3 cups of chicken to serve 8 people. I made this up because I'm making a chicken pot pie tonight, and I'm actually serving 4 tonight, but the recipe serves 8 people. How much chicken would you need to serve 20 people? Now, this is very, 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 very important. Actually, nothing I'm saying is not important, but decimals will not be accepted in a recipe. Why am I saying this? Because you're getting ready to do what's called the recipe lab, and you cannot give me decimal answers in the recipe lab. Why? Because measuring utensils are in fractions. Measuring cups, measuring spoons, they are in fractional amounts. So your answers for a recipe need to be in fractions. If you need some more help, look at the question I've specified from your book. But let's go ahead and set up our proportion. We're dealing with chicken, and I'm going to put that on top. And we're dealing with people, okay? So how much chicken will serve how many people? Go ahead. I'm sorry, my writing got slanted. So 3 cups of chicken, which is what I'm cooking tonight, will serve 8 people. And that's exactly what I'm going to do in just 30 minutes here. How much chicken? I don't know, so I put an X there. How much chicken would you need to serve 20 people? Okay. All right, let's get started. You're going to cross multiply. 3 times 20, I'm going to move over here, is 60. Multiply 8 times X, and I get 8X. Now, if you have a good calculator that you know how to work with, it will convert these decimals to fractions for you. I'm going to do it the long way. You can use your calculator here, but bottom line, you cannot give me a decimal answer. I see that both of these are divisible by 4. 60 is divisible by 4, and 80 is also divisible by 4. So I'm going to reduce that. That will be 15 over 2 equals X. And that's not going to work either because nobody's ever seen a measuring cup that said 15 over 2. So what I need to do is convert that to a mixed number. 2 goes into 15 7 times with 1 left over, and then my denominator is 2. 7 1/2. And what am I talking about? Am I talking about 7 1/2 people, or am I talking about 7 1/2 cups of chicken? I'm talking about 7 1/2 cups of chicken. Now, there's a lot of work that went into that right there. You see this? 15 1/2 has to be converted to a mixed number. This is a mixed number right here. This is a mixed number. It is not an improper fraction. And if you have the calculator that's been recommended for this course, that calculator will convert it to a mixed number for you. Okay, really quick, last example. I've got 1 minute. A unit rate is a specific comparison of the price and the amount of an item. This is imperative for the grocery lab, which you're also going to do this week. So you can buy 12 cheese sticks for $4.99. Okay, follow the order that is given. State the price per unit. So I need to do price per unit. And the unit here is sticks. I guess we'll call it sticks. You could say cheese sticks. All right, so I can get the price is $4.99. The unit is 12 sticks. So the rate, you're going to put that in your calculator, and my timer's about to run out. 4.99 divided by 12. This is money. So again, we're going to go 2 decimal places. A stick is 0. Make sure you round correctly. Check your rounding. 42 cents per stick. You can write the word per if you want to, but I'm just going to put the line. Now, the very last example, I've got 10 seconds. Okay, it says unit per price. So this time 12 would go on top and $4.99 would go on the bottom. I'm out of time.